Hey everybody, Cole here with Classic Mini DIY, and on today's short episode I'm going to show you guys the differences between the various braking systems so that you guys know which one you have in your car and you know which braking system and brake lines you might need to upgrade the brakes in your car as well. So, stay tuned for that. Now, for those of you who don't know, Classic Mini DIY carries a wide range of brake lines for your Classic Mini. These are produced by HEL Performance, and they are high-quality stainless lines to replace the old, maybe tired copper lines that are still in your car today. Now, in today's episode, I want to cover a brief topic, but I want to cover one that's been asked to me quite a few times, and it's in relation to which braking system you have on your Classic Mini. Now, the Classic Mini had a ton of different braking systems over the years, and it can be really confusing to figure out which one you have. So I'm going to break these down, each individual braking system, show you the differences, and show you guys which braking lines that you would need if you'd like to upgrade yours on your Classic Mini. Okay, so first off, stepping over to the shell of my Mark I here that's in the middle of a rebuild and restoration, what I want to show you guys are the two sets of holes here on the left and right side of the car where your master cylinders actually mount to the body of the car and then get connected to the pedals, which obviously live inside the car. Now, every Classic Mini shell came with both the accommodations for a left-hand drive and a right-hand drive master cylinder set. This was so British Motoring Company could sell this shell really easily in pretty much any market, whether it was a left-hand drive or right-hand drive one. Now, if you have a left-hand drive car, your choices of various different braking systems is a little bit less complex. Most left-hand drive cars did not come equipped with a big master cylinder servo or any of the more complicated braking systems that were later introduced in the cars. However, let's start talking about the different kinds of master cylinders themselves. Now, to start off, let's talk about the earliest style braking system. This is what's called a single line master cylinder. These are sometimes in plastic, but the earlier OG OEM ones were stamped metal like this. Very pretty. And this is the simplest style system because it has a single line that comes out the top, goes to a T-piece that sits somewhere on your bulkhead. It's not always in the same place on all cars, so it's something worth mentioning. A single line that goes to a T-piece, and then that T-piece goes out to your front brakes and down to your rear brakes. Now, this, of course, being the simplest system, requires a single line to replace it from our HEL kits, and pretty straightforward. You just replace the line coming out of this master cylinder. Now, moving on to a later style master cylinder, this is what's called a yellow tag master cylinder. And you can tell because it has a yellow stripe usually around the base here. These sometimes break off, or if you have a later style or a slightly different style version of this, it doesn't necessarily come with that yellow tag attached. So it's worth mentioning that it may look something like this, or it may look like this. At the end of the day, these are both your master cylinders for a yellow tag system. Now, the difference between the original OEM single line system and this system is that it has two lines, one here, one here. These two lines run off of your master cylinder and down to what's called a PDWA valve. It's going to look something like this, and its job is to distribute the braking load between the front brakes and the rear brakes so that when you slam your brakes, if you ever got in a serious braking situation, you wouldn't end up locking up one set or the other. Now, I want to mention this because this is where things get a little complicated for our kits, and I want to make sure that you guys are picking the right one for your car. Now, just because you have this yellow tag master cylinder, it doesn't necessarily mean your car came with a yellow tag master cylinder. This PDWA valve actually will live somewhere right about there, and on cars that had a later style servo system, a lot of people will convert those servo style systems, which I'm going to show you here in just a minute, to a yellow tag system because it's more compact and simpler. You take away and lose a little bit of your braking power and feel, but the yellow tag system is more than up to the task. The reason I want to mention this is because when you're looking at your car, you might find your PDWA valve is over here, or it might be down here. If you notice that that valve is farther off to the left or the side, what that means is that you have a converted yellow tag system. So what that means is that someone decided they wanted to remove what's called a green tag master cylinder. Now this would have lived somewhere like this with a large servo unit, a big black cylindrical unit here attached to the rear of it. And this unit, they moved from this to a yellow tag system. Both setups are going to allow your car to stop properly, but it's important to mention this because if you have a converted system, we have a special selection, a yellow tag conversion in our drop-down that you've got to select to make sure that you get the correct length lines. So again, to reiterate, if your PDWA sits closer to your master cylinder, you likely have a standard yellow tag setup. If it sits farther away, you likely have a converted yellow tag system. Now, if you don't have a yellow tag and you have a much later car that came with that servo setup and came with this green tag master cylinder, we can help you out there as well. We do have the kits to accommodate this setup, which will run lines from these two outputs right here down to your PDWA. So that covers the broad strokes of the various different master cylinders that were available on the Classic Mini. Now, as with everything on the Classic Mini, there's never just a one-size-fits-all. Unfortunately, because these cars were produced for such a long period of time, there was a ton of variation between the various years. But I wanted to make this video to help you guys find the correct HEL performance lines that we sell when you're looking at our site and picking them out, but also I wanted to help you guys understand the various differences between the model years and their braking systems. Now, there is one braking system that I did leave out of this because we haven't had an opportunity to make a kit for it yet, and that is the early Cooper S braking systems. This is earlier Cooper S cars. They actually introduced the servo, which was a whole separate unit. So you'd have a single line system like this Lockheed metal master cylinder here, but you would have a single line that ran to a servo setup, and that servo setup was one of the earlier ones on these Cooper S cars and lived somewhere around here on the left side. We do hope to set up a kit for that in the future. If you have one of those and would like to help get us measurements for that, please shoot me a message, either post it in the comments section or send me an email at classicminidiy@gmail.com. I'd really love to get some information from you and see if we can get you set up with a nice set of HEL lines as well as accommodate that style of car. Now, if you have any questions about the Classic Mini braking system or the HEL performance lines that we offer, feel free to post those in the comment section below. But as you can see, I'm in the middle of a big project here and I cannot wait to share it with you guys. So I'm gonna get back to it, and until I see you guys on the next one, you know the drill. Enjoy those minis and motor on. Have a good one, guys.